This drive-in theater is radioactive. Now you can hear tonight's show on your AM car radio. Turn your ignition key to the accessory position. This will not drain your car battery. Now turn on your radio and zero in on the following AM station.
Oh, cool? Okay, good? Cool. Hey, I miss you so much. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just, hanging out up here in the mountains where there is absolutely nothing to do. Yeah, she's having fun. I miss you so much.
Here's a flick you probably haven't heard of. In 2006, director Ryan Schifrin made his film debut with the Rear Window-inspired Abominable. In fact, it's more of a homage. It's basically Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window with Sasquatch. I kinda dig when a director takes a deep cut and remakes it with a fresh coat of paint. John Carpenter is known for this. Carpenter took Howard Hawks' Rio Grande and turned it into Assault on Precinct 13. He would later turn that into Ghosts of Mars. You see my point? So the blending of genres works. Carpenter took a Western film and pretty much turned it into an urban film. Same story, different setting and characters, but the heart of the film remains. So this particular remix isn't anything really new, but when it works, it really does work. Abominable is one of those movies that kind of slipped under the radar, debuting as a sci-fi original. Let's be real, probably why so many haven't really seen it. I fell in love with this film the moment I had laid eyes on it. Any horror film that features Dee Wallace right off the jump is already a winner in my book. Honestly, most of the cast in this film is top tier. Here we get a glimpse of what be lurking out in them woods. After a poor dog and some cattle are mutilated, Farmer Haas and his wife Ethel take refuge within their own home. Of course, Haas has to get a better look, so he opens the door and he goes outside. Nothing to see but poor Sparky. Okay, I admit, I hate when animals are harmed in film, but it kind of works here. It's a cryptoid film, so we ain't seeing shit this early in the movie. The film is scored by Lalo Schifrin, Academy Award-winning composer and director. Ryan Schifrin's dad. He did the score for the film. The guy is a legend. He has scored numerous big-time films, including Enter the Dragon. That's like John Williams scoring Hobo with a Shotgun. So at the start, we are introduced to Preston Rogers, played by Seinfeld favorite Matt McCoy. Preston was involved in a deadly climbing accident that took away his ability to walk. However, most tragic was the loss of his wife, who didn't survive the accident. It's been 6 months and Preston is going back home, pretty much against his will. He is being carted around by a shady nurse, Otis. I love this fucking guy. Otis is played by makeup artist Christian Tinsley in like his first role ever. This dude has some real credits to his name though, including Passion of the Christ and Detective Pikachu. Otis is such a dick. The actor really went all out to make sure you knew that as well. Whether it's the mustache he grew or that large bald spot in the middle of his head that he had gotten shaven for the role, it all just works and I love the character for it. Bad acting and all. Inside of Preston's home, Otis doesn't waste any time and finds a reason to leave Preston by himself. What a dick. All alone now, Preston begins to feel loud vibrations. He's scared as shit as panic begins to set in. In reality though, it's just a bunch of chicks riding in the Jeep playing the most generic hip-hop music they could afford. Wu-Tang, this was not. One of his new female neighbors for the weekend is played by the great Tiffany Shepis. Tiffany was everywhere during this time period. Scream Queen, anyone? Meanwhile, Preston is noticing all types of weird shit, including a down power line. Actually, the whole tree was knocked over. Now these women who rented that house, they're all a mess. Of course, they're all cliched and are pretty much in the film for a high body count. After the dumb blonde of the group decides to leave the house looking for reception, she is taken by the squash. Of course, Preston didn't see it. This is where the hook comes in. Preston, being bound to his wheelchair, tries everything to get the girl's attention throughout the film. More often than not, he just comes off as some weird-ass peeping Tom. This setup makes the film work, and this is where it parallels Rear Window, a helpless individual bound to a chair who witnesses a murder and can't do anything about it. No one believes him, everyone thinks he's a Looney Tune. It's a great setup for a horror film. Matt McCoy does a pretty good job evoking panic, fear, desperation. We get to feel what's it like to be helpless all alone in a house with a large Bigfoot stalking women right outside his window. So Preston naturally believes there's something in the woods and nobody believes him. To Otis, Preston is just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. To the women, he's just a creepy old perv. And to the police, he's probably just a bum just playing a prank. The guy is pretty much in a no-win situation. One of the most outrageous scenes in the film involves Sasquatch scaring the soul from out of Preston. The filmmakers did a tremendous job on the creature effects as well. It's hilarious and goofy, but it gives the monster so much personality. Honestly, I really did like how the director let that scene play out. In fact, it was really drawn out. It was nerve-inducing. Preston is pretty much forced to take action at this point. He begins typing up an email to the police department, but even he knows it sounds batshit crazy. Otis returns and the two scare the shit out of each other. Otis is so great here. So yeah, he's slimy, so naturally we get a classic villain close-up of Otis sipping his drink. It's so fucking obnoxious, but that's the point. It works. Of course, now it's a wonderful time to get shit-faced. The scene when Preston tells Otis to relax is so bad, yet so good. The acting is so hammy to me, but it only adds to the charm of the film. At this point, poor Preston, he's just trying to leave, but given the current situation, he thinks the better of it. What comes now is my absolute favorite scene in the entire movie. You see, old Farmer Hawes has put together this ragtag team of hunters, which includes Jeffrey Combs as the oxygen tank saddled store clerk and Lance Henriksen as Ziegler Dane. The dialogue between Combs and Henriksen is pure gold. You can tell these guys are having a blast doing this. Scenes like this really help elevate this film. It's a perfect break from everything going on with Preston. After telling this hilarious story about some dude earning a Darwin Award for being drowned in over 30 gallons of diarrhea. Damn. You'll have to hear the whole story for yourself. It's fucking great. Naturally, Ziegler, he don't believe in squash. He just wants to kill shit. After hearing noises in the woods, Ziegler heads off into a nearby cave to check it out. Here, he discovers the blonde who went missing earlier in the film. One of the film's best lines gets delivered here, and Ziegler is absolutely disgusted at poor Karen's intestines just hanging out. Ziegler runs off like a little bitch, and soon the three finds himself surrounded by the Sasquatch. This is where Combs calls the monster a cocksucker, and it was amazing. I can't read this shit. One by one, the hunters are picked off. First, Farmer Hawes, and then Ziegler in the most comical way possible. Soon after the old clerk gets devoured, we meet back up with Preston.
Show after show will feature the latest hits, the biggest stars for fun-filled, pleasure-packed evenings. Relax, come as you are, and spend an enjoyable night out with the entire family. No parking problems, no babysitting problems. And there are always tasty snacks at our modern refreshment stand.
As we head towards the film's climax, Otis, he's passed out, and Preston, he's alone again. Back next door, the women continue bickering in what has to be the worst acting you would ever find in a gem like this. Tracy gets a drink thrown at her by pothead CJ, and it forces her into the shower. Of course, and it was a marvelous scene. Meanwhile, Preston witnesses the beasts lurking just out the bathroom window. Preston has Otis take a look, but of course all he sees is a naked woman in the shower. He even zooms in on her ass. What a goat. Otis now thinks Preston is a complete Looney Tune and attempts to drug him. Alright, when I said this film has some hilariously bad shit in it, I wasn't kidding. The way Otis just lunges himself to grab poor Preston was pure comedy genius. Preston then turns the table on Otis, grabs a syringe, and impales him in the neck with it. Once again, the acting, pure gold. Next, we get a spectacular jump scene that actually works. Sasquatch begins killing the women one by one while Preston hopelessly looks on. After finally deciding to smash the window, Preston and us, the audience, we get our first real look at the creature. Trust me when I say, this has to be one of the most original Bigfoot designs I have ever seen. Bro, his eyes are so fucking creepy. Okay, all the women, they're all dead except one. Soon after, Amanda finally connects with Preston and the two plot to kill the beast once and for all. The two come up with a plan to escape instead. All was going well until the monster decided to enter the house a little early. Here, we get a great close-up of the monster breathing all over Amanda. Shit was stank. Otis, from all people, decides to help by stabbing the beast with an axe, thus saving Amanda. This would end up being the money shot in the entire film. Otis's death was fucking great. Some of the best practical effects seen on camera. It's fantastic. Preston and Amanda now take off in Preston's car, but of course they crash headfirst into a nearby tree. It's the final battle and the beast is finally defeated, being crushed between the car and the tree as the axe in his back tears through his chest. The way the monster pounded on the vehicle before his last breath was fucking great. It's kind of sad actually. The local sheriff and his goons, they search for the monster, but he's gone. One of them being Phil Morris, who played Jackie Childs in Seinfeld.
Your face is my case.
After a brief discussion between Paul Gleason and his job squad, the police are completely surrounded by an army of Sasquatches. It's a pretty solid ending. Watching back, everything doesn't quite hold up as well, but if you're a fan of Bigfoot and these types of movies, I recommend you definitely go out your way, find Abominable, crack open a beer, smoke a joint, enjoy the film. It's magical. Definitely worthy of a drive-in theater. It's a shame Ryan Schifrin really didn't do much after this film. I thought he had something special, especially his sense of humor. Well, that was Abominable, one of my favorite Bigfoot movies and one that is severely underrated and underappreciated by many. Thank you for coming to the Horror Fiend Drive-In Theater. Please leave a like on the way out and come again very, very soon. Have a great day, folks. Stay scared.